Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're getting into the nitty-gritty of a real estate project's budget. It turns out every single dollar spent falls into one of two major buckets, and understanding them tells you the real story of how a building gets made.
So, when you look at a brand new building going up, what do you think it really costs? I mean, it's got to be more than just steel and concrete, right? Well, you're right. The true answer is really a tale of two budgets, a split between what you can see and all the stuff you can't.
All right, let's dive right in. The easiest way to think about it is this. You've got the building, that's the physical structure itself, and then you have the brain behind it. That's all the planning, the design, the fees, the financing that actually makes it possible in the first place. And that, right there, is your hard costs versus your soft costs. And let me tell you, getting this difference is absolutely key.
Okay, first up, let's tackle the one that's probably most obvious, the hard costs. You know, the tangible stuff. The things you can actually see and point to on a job site. So a hard cost is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's the money that goes directly into the physical construction. And here's a super simple rule of thumb. If you can walk up to the finished building and literally touch it, yeah, that was paid for out of the hard cost budget.
So what are we talking about here?
Well, it's everything. It starts the second that first shovel hits the ground, so excavation, running utilities, all that site work. Then you've got the foundation being poured, the steel skeleton going up. It's also the guts of the building, you know, the HVAC, the electrical systems, and of course the interior finishes like drywall and flooring, and the exterior stuff like the roof and the windows. Oh, and yeah, even that big new parking lot counts as a hard cost.
And believe me, when it comes to the overall budget, hard costs are the undisputed heavyweight champion. They are the lion's share, typically eating up a massive 60 to 75% of the entire project cost, just a huge chunk of the pie. Okay, so we've got the physical stuff down. Now let's flip over to the other side of the coin, the soft costs, the intangibles. These are all the expenses that are way harder to see, but trust me, they are absolutely crucial for the project to even happen.
Remember that brain we talked about? This is it. If hard costs are the body of the project, soft costs are the brain that directs everything. We're talking about all those necessary but non-physical expenses. It's the money for the services you need to design the thing, get it approved by the city, secure the financing, and manage the whole crazy process from day one to completion. And this category covers a ton of ground. I mean, think about it. You've got your architect and engineering fees. You've got the cost of permits and those lovely city impact fees. Then there's the interest you're paying on that construction loan month after month. It also includes all the insurance, the legal bills, project management, even the marketing and leasing commissions. And here's the bottom line. Without paying for all these soft costs, not a single brick gets laid. The construction just doesn't happen. So while soft costs aren't the biggest piece of the pie, they are a really significant one. You're usually looking at somewhere between 25 and 40% of the total budget. It's what I'd call a critical minority. Get this part wrong and it can absolutely sink your project's profitability. Okay, so you might be thinking, why do we even care about splitting these up? Isn't a cost just a cost? Well, no, not at all. This is way more than just an accounting game. Making this distinction has huge, real-world consequences for everything from financing and taxes to how you manage risk. And this table here just lays it out perfectly. Take a look at taxes, for example. Hard costs, they get depreciated over like 39 years. But some soft costs, you can expense those right away, which is a big deal. Now think about financing. A lender looks at a steel beam and feels pretty safe, so they'll lend you more against your hard costs, maybe 80 or 90%. But for soft costs, it's riskier for them, so they'll cover less. And then there's volatility. Hard costs are at the mercy of lumber and steel prices. Soft costs, they're vulnerable to project delays and spikes in interest rates. See? They each have their own totally unique financial DNA. All right, enough with the theory. Theory's great, but let's make this real. Let's apply these concepts to a project to see how the numbers actually break down.
So for our case study, let's picture a pretty standard project, a brand new 100,000 square foot commercial office building.
And the all-in price tag, I'm talking from the first sketch to the day tenants can move in, is a cool $35 million. So how does that $35 million break down? Well, take a look. It actually follows our rule of thumb almost perfectly. A whopping $25 million, or about 71%, is going straight into hard costs, you know, the actual construction. That leaves the other $10 million, about 29%, for all those soft costs. But let's go one level deeper and really dissect that 10 million in soft costs. Where does it all go? Well, get this, $2 million is just for financing costs alone. Another $1.5 million goes to the architects and engineers. Another $1.5 million for marketing and getting leases signed. And you see that $1 million slice for contingency? That is so important. That's the project's emergency fund, because let's be real, something always goes wrong.
Okay, to wrap things up, let's get into some pro tips. This is the stuff that seasoned developers have learned, often the hard way, to keep their projects on schedule and, more importantly, in the black. So here are 3 big rules you've got to remember. Number 1, watch out for what we call soft cost creep. Delays and unexpected fees are super common, so you always need a healthy contingency fund. Seriously, padded. Number 2, do not forget about FF&E. That's furniture, fixtures, and equipment. If you're building a hotel or a hospital, this can be a gigantic expense that's easy to overlook. And finally, number 3, know your market. The impact fees in one city can literally be 10 times what they are just one town over. Local knowledge is absolutely everything. So the next time you see a crane on the skyline, I want you to remember that the steel structure you're watching is really only part of the story. It kind of makes you wonder, right? With so much money and risk tied up in all those invisible costs, the planning, the design, the financing, you have to ask, is the blueprint more important than the building itself? Definitely something to think about.